States is going to be speaking at Rockland Community College with Representative Mike Lawler tomorrow, Friday, May 22nd. We're going to have all the information about the traffic because there's going to be a lot of it. School budgets approved across Rockland County, and the Rockland County gas sales tax cap starts on June 1st. Plus, we'll have an interview with Jake from Breakthrough Fitness Co., and you're going to be interested in a new spin on fitness, basically making it accessible for everybody. So stay tuned for much more. Hang on just one moment.
You're listening to Rockland News, available on Apple, Spotify, and online at rocklandnews.com. Thanks for joining us today. Here is your host, Tom Osa.
All right, so we are going to kick it off just with the weather real quick because it's cloudy and rainy and blah. It's approximately 64 degrees in Stony Point, New York, and there's a lot more that's happening over the course of the next several hours. First of all, we got a lot of traffic that's going to be happening at around like 4 or 5 o'clock. Just so you know, those of you that have been tuning into everything about tomorrow's presidential visit, traffic is going to be a nightmare tomorrow. But let's talk about the weather first. Today, it's going to be 56 degrees at approximately 4 o'clock today with a low of 47. Friday, it's going to be 66 degrees and 48, cloudy as well. And Saturday, Sunday, you're looking at rain, 54 degrees and 54 degrees respectively. We want to thank our sponsors for Rockland's News. We have the New York Boulders baseball team, Yabu Fence Company, since 1965, helping you to have great fencing in your backyard. Dana Pest Control, family owned, third generation, can get rid of all the pests in your home, except for your relatives. You can't do that, but everything else, it could get you out and they will take care of you. Really great business located in Tompkins Cove, New York. And of course, Easy Temp for all your ice machine repairs. Go to Easy Temp for commercial refrigeration services. Plus, we got a whole bunch of other sponsors: Fiesta Acapulco, Kobe Sushi with their Jazz Music Lounge, music on Wednesdays and Saturday nights, and of course, Breakpoint Bowling with their $2 million facility located in West Haverstraw, New York. Not only do they have bowling, they got an arcade, laser tag, and a beautiful restaurant. You got to check them out, breakpointbowl.com. We'd like to also go over the thing that's happening tomorrow. We're going to go into it in detail, but the thing that's very, very relevant to the long-term trajectory of Rockland County is school budgets were approved across Rockland County. We first got word yesterday that the Nanuet budget was also approved. East Ramapo, Suffern, Clarkstown, North Rockland, Pearl River, Nanuet, Nyack, and South Orangetown each passed their spending plans. So that signals a lot of community support for academic programs and also capital improvements over the next several years. Notably, you may want to check out our colleague Brian Heyman's podcast. It's called Bare Wires, and we have a representative from the East Ramapo Central School District. She's a board member, and she talks about what is going on. It's a really, really insightful podcast. Check that out when you get a chance, and we'll post a link this afternoon on rocklandsnews.com. The other thing to note is that Rockland County is going to have a gas sales tax cap starting on June 1st. Relief at the pump is on the way for Rocklanders as a new measure capping the county's gasoline sales tax takes effect on June 1st. Under the plan, the county's 4% tax will only apply to the first $3 per gallon rather than the full price, saving drivers about $1.60 on a typical fill-up when gas costs $5 a gallon. Now, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you keep on going back to the pump, listen, that adds up 10, 20, 30, 40. That way you could get your coffee and your other things and you don't have to worry. I know it's budget. I mean, we all know this, but the cap is scheduled to remain in place through March 1st, 2027. So span that out over the course of 10 months. It could add up in your pocket. Other things to talk about budget consideration wise. One of the big things on the agenda for tomorrow's event with the President of the United States, I'm joking around about the United States, whatever. But the point is that he's going to be talking about the salt deduction, which is relevant to homeowners in Rockland County. Hopefully there will be a message that SALT is generally going to help homeowners to be able to reduce the taxes that they outlay. Remember, the cap went from $10,000 to $40,000. So that is a significant amount of dollars that could potentially go right back into the homeowner's pocket. The other thing to note, and just last thing before we bring our guest in, is that you definitely want to consider your travel plan for tomorrow. Now, doors at Rockland Community College open at approximately 11 o'clock. This is the word on the street that we've gotten from the 807 news organizations that are covering this event, including Rockland News. So you're looking at about 11, 11:30. We also spoke with representatives of Mike Lawler's contingency. So that seems to be the general game plan. We also do know that members of volunteer firefighters, ambulance, obviously police, Secret Service, they're already over at Rockland Community College as of the beginning of this week, making preparations for this. So a lot of preparation. Now you just have to imagine one more thing. If you are traveling, especially in the town of Ramapo tomorrow, the thing you want to recognize is not just about the president's motorcade. It's about all the traffic that's heading to and heading away from Rockland's Community College, especially at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It is going to be a nightmare. So if you can move, a little further away from the town of Ramapo as you're driving, just open up your Google map and just take a look at the atmosphere and just figure out where you can go in order to avoid, especially the main arteries for this. For instance, College Road, Route 59, Airmont Road, Route 202, that part of the thruway. Those are the sort of choke points that you can imagine you're going to end up having to deal with a lot of traffic. And of course, our mandate for the year is traffic. Last year was residential housing. This year we're doing traffic. So overall, and we'll cover it. I'm sure everybody that has been watching since the announcement was made, all the stuff that is basically going into this kind of a surprise visit, the way it was announced. It's definitely something. I just hope everybody is safe on the roads and it's a smooth event and everything goes as planned, good quality. And then the president can, I guess, helicopter back or whichever mode he's going to be choosing in order to get back to Washington. But anyway, drive safe. That's the bottom line. And our guest today is Jake from Breakthrough Fit Co. And Jake and his partner in the business are owners of not one, but two fitness facilities. And one is opening up in New City. Jake, thanks for joining us on Rockland News today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So you're a friend of a friend. You were referred to us by a colleague that I know for about 7 or 8 years. He's a really cool guy. We actually went out to lunch 2 weeks ago. Ken J from Echelon Payment Solutions, EPS. And he's a really cool dude. And we've been talking a little bit. I hear that you have a fitness facility that caters also to individuals that need accessibility solutions.
Yeah, 100%. Breakthrough Fit Co. is an appointment-based gym that does one-on-one and small group training, where our mission is to be a place where anyone could walk in, be themselves, get better physically and mentally through fitness. And it doesn't matter if you're a pro athlete, financer working 9 to 5, or if you have autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, TBI, you name it. We just meet people where they're at because everyone moves and communicates differently.
Right. And that movement is so important. I find it's, and my family is a family of bicyclists. And I find that movement and, of course, the physical aspect of it, but it's also healing for the spirit, too. Just the actual movement it feels healing.
Yeah. I mean, I always say that health and wellness is like the first line of defense in the healthcare system, which I have seen that hold true. I could share some examples, later, but also I remember a documentary I saw so long ago called Happy, where it's like, we study depression so much, but like there's things in the body, these drugs that we get addicted to, like dopamine and serotonin, that forget about like having an aesthetic goal or a high athletic performance goal. When we move our bodies, stuff physiologically happens inside that we cannot see that can boost our mood, can boost our, like you said, spirituality or just state of being. And, you know, the weight of life can prevent people from getting movement. People's human life experiences and accessibility can prevent people from getting access to movement. So it really is a first line of defense in the healthcare system in many facets.
Interesting. And the facility that you opened is in New City. This is the second facility that you have. You have one in Westchester.
Correct. We opened right out of the pandemic in Westchester. My business partner, Steve, we were neighbors at the time, actually, and he saw me building a little gym in my garage as I collected stuff on like the black market of fitness equipment, which is what we all did when everything was shut down. And we became good friends and workout buddies. And, you know, I had 15 years of background in the fitness industry. Well, now 15, so maybe
Right.
11 years when we started. And he has a large background in finance and a whole other skill set that I didn't have that were very complementary to each other because we had these two separate skill sets. And the pandemic was loosening back up, and we're kind of like, let's get this out of the garage and into a space because there seems to be a need for it. And I used to work in commercial fitness. I had a client with autism who had two left feet and was very distracted by the overstimulation in corporate fitness.
Mhm.
When we got to parks or the home gyms or whatever, he became a track star and now runs on his regular track team like every other kid,
Wow.
which is how it should be. I had a client that lost 40 pounds and came off 2 or 3 of her medications. And I have a girl that was in a wheelchair after we had opened who never thought she'd walk on a treadmill. And 2 of the trainers, after a long duration of training, worked up to getting her on the treadmill, and she was able to take steps on the treadmill. And it just took off. And then, you know, I grew up in New City, actually, which is ironic because we didn't plan on this, but we started to get requests to come to Rockland. And after we tested the market a little bit more, we decided, you know what, it's time, let's do it.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned about the individuals. It seems like the name of your company is Breakthrough. So it seems like they're experiencing breakthroughs through the training that you provide over there. You mentioned a few stories. Were there moments, especially in the first facility that you opened, and also, you know, or after COVID, were there moments where you realized you're like, just wow, this is amazing? You know, we me and my business partner have a knack for this. Maybe we should keep on going with it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, this was like, you know, the pandemic was a dark time, but sometimes it takes darkness for light to come through.
Mhm.
And it created an opportunity. And it was always like, you know, we wanted to do something more than just the daily grind. We wanted to do something that combined mission, purpose, passion, and was impactful and not just a job, but something that would, you know, create a movement and create community. Like everyone's stuck on their phones. Everyone was scared during the pandemic. Like people are going to want community. We need that as humans, and we need movement as humans. So we knew that in the things that we see, like there's already such a limitation of things out there for the neurodiverse population. And what I find is there's also a big lack of education. And honestly, we all live a different human life experience. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what you have going on. Like we always joke, like, we don't care what you got going on. If you have autism or Down syndrome and can power lift, cool. Let's do what you can do.
Mhm.
If you are a neurotypical individual that can't find how to fit fitness into your schedule and you're sitting at a desk job all day and you end up pulling something in your hip and have to go to physical, let's work cohesively with your physical therapist and figure out how to get movement into your lifestyle. You know, so that's why it's like, we're just like trying to highlight people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fun fact is, so we've seen all of this in Westchester. We have a team of 17 in Westchester, and we are about to open in New City on June 6th. We're not fully open yet because we're taking over a building that's been vacant for about 17 years. And if anyone that's listening to this knows Rockland County, they will know the exact building that we are going into, next to Duke of Oil, right in front of the New City bowling alley. Had all the garage doors on the side of it, a big eyesore. And it's wild because I grew up seeing that building. And now Steve and I get to bring a mission that we're very passionate about there, that I know is going to be impactful for a lot of individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I think about it, I mean, just from a strategic standpoint, it's smart also to have it next to another sports related facility, such as the bowling alley and the New City Bowling.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't plan it, but yeah, because I mean, Special Olympics does stuff in the bowling alley.
Right.
There's a
That's what I was
lot
thinking.
and it's almost like the bowling alley is really the only opportunity for programs to go to. Because as I said, we work with everyone, but we also work with a lot of day hab programs, a lot of group homes, a lot of organizations like Truanio and Arc of Westchester, soon to be Arc of Rockland, or Venture Together.
Hmm.
And all common denominator across all the board. What are you guys doing for your Tuesday night social? Oh, good. We'll be at the bowling alley.
Right, right, exactly.
You
And
know,
nothing against bowling. I never picked up on it, and I tried, but yeah, I mean, I'm lucky if I break 70 bowling.
hey, listen, that's what they got bumpers for. We
Yes,
all could
exactly.
utilize the bumpers
You
in
know?
there.
So my friend Keith, he's actually done like something like 15 or 20 300 level games, and I'm impressed.
Wow.
Yeah, he just got a knack for it, but skill sets, you know.
Yeah. Hey, look, we all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses, and there's no shame in the bumpers. 'Cause I'm pretty sure I would have to use them as well.
So tell me a little bit about the process, because as you mentioned, there's always a variety of individuals with different, they could be physical or, motor or developmental components of we'll call it a disability sometimes, where
Yeah.
they may need more personalized service to really understand what they're going through. So maybe you could
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the intake process, just so that you get a new individual, uh, let's say, more comfortable with some workout routines.
Yeah. I mean, look, everything is personal. That's the whole point of personal training, right? I feel like we're in a distracted world where the secret sauce, I think, to being really successful in anything is presence. And especially when you're working with a specialized demographic as we do, sometimes if you're not present, you might get slapped in the face, because that's how the individual is letting you know, like, hey, I want your
That
attention
sounds
while
like
we exercise.
that sounds like a statement from a married man.
But hey, listen, it's happened, and you have to be able to respond with a hug. So it
You
takes a
do, yeah.
special person to work with this, and we really protect our environment
Mhm.
and the people that we bring in, and get a few extra specialized certifications for them, depending. But a lot of them have backgrounds that work and overlap with fitness.
Right.
So what I would say is the process is the same for anybody. If you come in, we're going to set up an initial consultation. Sometimes we'll have a phone screen, but we're investigators. We want to connect and get to know the person or the family, the caregiver, the scenario, some history. If there is PT or OT involved, it's occupational or physical therapy. For those that might not know, if there's speech pathology, we want kind of an overarching look at the scenario. And then we go into a consultation with like a little physical component, and we'll move around. We do have a large population of wheelchair clients.
Mhm.
And that's become something that a lot of the team now is really good at. So it's no different if you were to come in. If you were to come in, we would invest the time to sit down, chat, have a completely free consultation,
Right.
and figure out what's the best path forward. Sometimes let's start slow. Sometimes we could dive right in. Maybe it's, hey, let's link up with the PT and see what might be the best cohesive plan. So everything is just about setting up that initial time, getting as much intake as we can, and then setting a consistent schedule going forward. And then something that's really cool is that for individuals that receive services through OPWDD, the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, is that they have something called self-direction, which is government funding that they could utilize for open to the public services. Now, we're appointment-based, not anyone could just walk in, but we work with the overarching public. We could actually bill directly to those agencies on behalf of those families. They are CC'd on everything and they don't have to spend a dime. So now when we're talking about this specific niche in the neurodiverse community and making things easy and accessible, Steve and I are usually like, what are the solutions that we could find to just like, it's a full-time job. If any parent or caregiver or person that worked with this demographic is listening on here, I know 1,000% they would validate this, that it is a uphill battle, full-time job, slow processes, things like that. So if we can do one little thing that makes their life easier, we will. And we can just, and then they, take care of it for them. So that's a really cool little caveat that's in there that, because of our longevity here in Westchester so far, which doesn't seem like it's a long time, but it's
it goes fast. The moment you open those doors, I've been in business 19 years. The moment you open those doors, it's like, it becomes kind of like your kid and it just flashes by your eyes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. No, that was like the last 4, it's closer to 5 years now. It'll be 5 years in September for Westchester. But, we're known through all of the self-direction agencies. And when parents come in, they might not even know that that's an option and that they have it or what's accessible to them. So, through the community that we built, we can connect and, they could find people to lean on and other support of people that are dealing with the same things that they might be. So,
And do you work with caseworkers? So for instance, my uncle is a special needs uncle and he's in the group home system in Rockland County, which is awesome in my opinion. There's usually a caseworker that has, kind of like a good understanding of the individual. Do you work with them?
Yeah, we definitely can. So, depending on how the individuals come to us, some people come to us through their caseworkers who might reach out to us first or through a broker. There's a few different roles surrounding the individual sometimes. So we have care managers that might call in and be like, I'm looking to find activities or place a few people. We might have a family or a parent or an individual that comes in and say, hey, I'm going to go back and talk to my case manager and work this into my plan. So in short, it's just a matter of how the interaction begins and who it begins with.
Yeah. And there's obviously, case and such. So I was just curious because I know that like, for instance, with my uncle, and he's been in the group home system for years, we have a go-to that if there's a question, like they know the answer to, they got like the whole file and everything. So that's a good thing. Interesting. And, walk me through it. Like, what sort of if you will, exercise machines or what's the layout of the new facility?
Sure. So it actually does mirror our initial location pretty well. And we got to make it from scratch, which was awesome. It had its fair share of headaches, not going to lie, but it was awesome. And we like to generally keep it open concept because that allows us to be even more creative and adaptable. But it is like any other gym that you would go into. We have a row of cardio where we've got treadmills, recumbent bikes. We have the arm bikes that wheelchairs could slide right into. We have the assault bikes, which people have a love-hate relationship with. We have rowers. There's some really cool things that we do with the rowers too, especially for wheelchairs. People don't know sometimes that you could take half of the contraption off. So you just have the wheel and the row portion and weight it down with some dumbbells and you just move the wheelchair and you can now do the rower. It's so cool. We have dumbbells in Westchester up to 80. We got up to 100 for Rockland. We have a massive 6-station rogue rig with weighted plates and different types of bars. Then we got all the toys. We got kettlebells, all sorts of steppers and slam balls and TRXs and resistance bands. We have adaptive grip hands, things called active hands. So if someone has a grip issue that they're working on, or if there's a cerebral palsy individual that one of their hands needs that extra assist, we can use those to help grip certain things. So we can utilize cables and we can utilize bands and dumbbells. We have our therapy tables. One is a little bit lower and larger. And then we also have our regular stretching table. So we do a lot of stretching, active, passive, you name it as well. We have the new space. We're gonna have a nice little hangout area up in the front, some TVs mounted around. We usually put on some good boppy music. We like to dance a lot.
All right. Yeah. That's important too.
Fun. So, yeah.
When I hit the gym, what I do is I bring a book and I bring my music. I mean, just throw the earbuds in, and it's being transported to a place where just the motivation is, I mean, the way that I characterize it right now is the Verizon commercial with the guy that's like running upwards on a treadmill, and he's like 100% or nothing, so that's at least the feeling, and then, but I'm 50 years old, so I have to modify. I can't lift as much as I used to. And just do everything nice and safe and everything. You mentioned TRX. That's definitely a go-to. That is one of my favorites, quite frankly. So it sounds like you got a pretty nice facility that's coming.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped for us to get open so people can come in and, see it and meet us. Between the team, in Westchester, our team they're just really special people. Alexis, who manages the Westchester location, is an absolute rock star. And a lot of people over in Rockland will meet Alex, who will be managing the new city location, and the team that we already have in place to go there. They're just great humans. And we're blessed to get to work with them. And then that allows Steve and I to continue to get out there and connect with people and make sure that we can continue to plan accessible communities and to change the way that the fitness industry views different abilitied,
Yeah, absolutely. When is the facility planned to open? I imagine you're going to have a ribbon cutting and some festivities.
Oh, yes, we are. So I like to go big.
I could tell.
So every year in September, we have the Breakthrough Ball, which definitely influenced by Tim Tebow's Night to Shine, but it's like a big party night for everybody, not just the special needs community, but everyone. We just want people to come out and celebrate who they are. So the grand opening is going to be like that on June 6th. It's a Saturday from June 6th, 5 to 7 p.m. I'm not going to lie, we're definitely racing the clock to get all the final pieces together, but I think we're going to pull it off. But we're going to have a DJ, some local businesses are supporting that are some community partners. We're going to have some cocktail tables set up, bunch of food. And it's just going to be fun. I'm expecting there to be likely over 100 people in there. So it's going to be fun. We're just getting people out to celebrate.
You can probably hear me typing because, we're able to Bluetooth phone calls directly into the live stream board here. You could probably hear me typing, ladies and gentlemen, because I got that in my calendar right now while Jake was talking. Yeah, it's an appointment setting. Like I said, 100% or nothing. So we're going to see if we could get some coverage over there from Rockland News. It sounds like a really great community event. And I think, I hope this doesn't sound contrived because, again, one of my relatives is special needs, but I wish you guys all the best in the world. This is a great service that you guys are doing for the community. It's obviously a business, but it's so much better. And you mentioned the things that came together when you guys opened up, but it's so much more rewarding of a journey when you have something that really helps humanity. And it sounds like you guys found something that can help humanity. So I really wish you guys all the luck.
Thank you. And just, to throw, so like you said, it is a business. We do have a nonprofit arm that is called the Breakthrough Funds. So individuals that don't have that self-direction funding and are below a certain income level could apply for a full scholarship for a year, potentially plus, not just for our services, but for a few other partnered services that work in adaptive swim or nutrition or adaptive yoga. We have other friends out there that are serving the community as well. And it's a win-win because we get to scholarship individuals and support other nonprofits and businesses that serve the community that we aim to serve as well. So
That's amazing.
Well, we over me, man.
Give us the website address and the phone number, please, so that we can get that out there on Rockland News tonight at 5:00.
Sure. For the business.
Yeah, for both, because if you have the foundation that's going to be set up, if there's an application, but if you don't have that yet, definitely get that to us so that we could put that out there as a follow-up.
Yeah, the foundation is fully up. I mean, we've got www.breakthroughfitco.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got www.thebreakthroughfund.org. And then I can give
fund.org. Got it.
Correct. And then the phone number for Breakthrough Rockland is 845-925-1026. And I could give you the Westchester one if you want, but this is Rockland News. So this is the one time I might say, nah.
I appreciate that you said that, and I'll tell you a quick story. So we have, a smattering of reporters all over Rockland and so on. And we don't name names or anything, but I'll tell you a fun story. So one of our first reporters, I'm only 5 years into the news business. My first company is a web development company. That's Rockland Web. And this guy, so he gets an interview with a very, very, very prominent politician in Rockland County, like that's responsible for all of Rockland County. And I tell him, okay, make sure that when you do the interview that you keep it relevant to Rockland County. Because like you said, it's Rockland's news. He goes, okay. His first question was, so what do you think about Elon Musk going to Mars? I'm like, what the? I just didn't understand it. And it was a downward spiral from there. I'll tell you that much. He's no longer working with us and everything. We wish him the best, fare thee well. But so, and even tomorrow, like with the thing that's happening tomorrow, I'm actually, I have to attend a funeral for a friend, his mother passed away. So that's priority for me. And I know, it's a big thing over at RCC and we're going to cover it, but it's not like they need my physical presence there, but Rockland in general, like whatever comes out of it, as far as like, for instance, the salt tax or whatever. I mean, if that's a good thing for Rocklanders, I mean, we'll definitely report on that stuff. That's no problem. So, hopefully we're doing right. And I appreciate you. And this has been a good interview, man. Definitely feel free to call in again. We do the morning shows typically on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and keep contact with each other. And we always like individuals that talk about, things that are happening in their industry. So we'd love to have you back on. You seem knowledgeable from my opinion, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, happy to connect anytime. And I appreciate you so much for taking the time to chat with me.
Cool. You got it. So Jake from Breakthrough Fit Co. That's breakthroughfitco.com, as well as thebreakthroughfund.org. All right. And give us your phone number one more time.
Yep. So the phone number for Breakthrough Rockland is 845-925-1026.
All right. Great. Jake, thanks for joining us on Rockland News today. We want to thank all of our sponsors. Let's get Alana on to put the final music, and we'll be right back as soon as she announces us.
You're listening to Rockland News, available on Apple, Spotify, and online at rocklandnews.com. Thanks for joining us today. Here is your host, Tom Osa.
All right, so the music's going to be a little bit loud in front of this, but we want to thank our sponsors one more time. We got the New York Boulders baseball team, Yabu Fence Company, Dana Pest Control, and Easy Temp for all your ice machine repairs and commercial refrigeration. Plus, we got Fiesta Acapulco, Kobe Sushi with their Jazz Music Lounge. Music on Wednesdays and Saturday nights. Mention Rockland News and get 15% off your entire sushi order. Breakpoint Bowling, Whole Shot Bagels, Stony Point Massage, UPS Store in West Haverstraw, Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy, Susan Bova Coldwell Banker Realty, 99 Signs, FC Perfection, and Clean Space Maintenance Management Company. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining us. Take care.